Welcome to Your Unapologetic Life, the podcast. I'm your host, Morgan Barkis, your go-to women's empowerment coach here to help you reclaim your confidence and sparkle after a breakup. I'm excited to share my high-impact free video training. It's called Bounce Back Quick, 5 Confidence Boosters After a Breakup, filled with actionable strategies to help you take control and feel empowered again. To get this free video, visit morganbarkis.com and subscribe to my email list, or click the link in the show notes. Now, let's dive into today's episode. Let's talk about how we even know each other. My memory of you, Cindy, is we were in a restaurant. We were in South Florida, Miami, somewhere.
It was Gloria Estevan's restaurant.
Oh, that's what I was going to say. It had like a Latin flair. It was classy. It was moody lighting. I had never met you before. I was there with a person who we were in this weird, not boyfriend and girlfriend, but still seeing each other. And he came to dinner with me. And I just remember you sitting next to me and you were all up in my business. Like, who are you? Who's this guy? What's the situation between you two? And like, you just dove right in, which I love. And we've been friends ever since. And it's been years. And what's funny is I just talked to someone, actually Michelle from Orange Theory. And I said, do you stay in touch with anybody from Orange Theory? And she's like, not really, a little bit, one person. And then I said, well, you'll never guess who I stay in touch with more than anybody else. I said, Cindy and I, we are still like texting. And I said, one time she was flying somewhere and I got to meet up with her and take her to the airport. So anyway. Yeah.
So I wore my sparkly shirt today for a sparkle effect.
I love that. I still have a notebook that you sent me that you like put my name on it and you put all these like little decorations on, like. So, yes, the sparkle effect is strong with us, Cindy.
Yes.
So you go ahead and start where you want to start, the relationship you want to choose, and then how you were reborn and rebuilt after that. So you start where you want to.
So happily married for 30-something years. I hate to use the word ex-husband, but I don't want to really use his name, but I'll say ex. Yeah. I have had 8 brain surgeries since 2006, and I looked it up today. There is a high 75% chance of divorce when one person's chronically ill, worse when it's a female. And this is nothing against my ex. He did the best he could, but I wasn't getting enough. When we first got married, people said to us, you're type A, he's type Z. How is this working? Does he talk? Is he mute? And it worked great, great father. There was not one fight in 30 years. But something wasn't right inside me. And yes, I lost my mind. Yes, my health. But it was nothing he did. It was me wanting something different. And I remember being in line in a store and my dad saying to me, better to stay married and be with a man and be unhappy than to be alone. And I was like, nope, I'm going to disagree. You told me to be a princess and I want to be a princess. So I have a friend who lives in Australia. I've never met her. She's a blogger. She has the same condition I do. And she said to me one night, and to this day, she doesn't remember saying it. She has short-term memory issues like I do. She said, are you trying to fit a square peg into a round hole? That expression. And a lightning bolt from God above said to me, it's time. So it was at that point that I said, my marriage is done. It's not my marriage. I wanted more, I wanted different. My kids were older. And so we amicably separated. He's my best friend. He has a girlfriend for 4 years. We all get along great. Everything is wonderful. It took a couple months for us to figure it out, but I've never cried one night since I've left. And I've had reasons to cry, and I've had a brain surgery since then alone. What was the question?
Well, not even the question. You're doing beautifully in that you're describing when you knew it wasn't right for you. And I can't help but think about Dan Savage again. I don't know if you're familiar with him.
Yes.
And I've mentioned him before. I heard him interviewed, and it hit me like a lightning bolt when he said, "Isn't it crazy and unreasonable that in this social construct, death do us part is the only definition of a successful relationship? When you're with someone, you choose that person every day. You kind of look at each other and go, do we want to do this again today? And then, you yes or no. And there can be a point, whether it's 30 odd years or 2 years, where you're like, this has run its course, and it's not unsuccessful.
Right.
It's not a failure. You didn't waste your time. It was just this person, you two together for however long that is, was the right fit at that time. And it doesn't make it unsuccessful not to. And I love hearing that you
And
two.
I was going to rewrite the book on divorce, and I was
Yeah.
reading online and this and that. We shared a mediation person. He's an attorney, so we were not going to pay an attorney. Ridiculous. We were not going to fight over. Everything was split in half. Everything is amicable. He's been so generous. I've been so generous. We did everything halvesies. It just was a wonderful experience, and I have embraced his girlfriend. He's embraced my lifestyle, and I haven't cried one night since I've left the house over the divorce because it was the right decision.
Yeah.
What I didn't know is I would lose everything.
Say more about losing everything.
Not financially. I mean, yeah, things are different, but family, none of our friends are divorced. We were the last people you would ever guess to be divorced. The last.
Okay.
We didn't fight in public. All his guy friends love him, but I had no example to follow. The women that got divorced were very bitter. It was angry. Someone cheated. Blah, blah. That wasn't our story. Well, when you get divorced, married women don't want to invite you over because they're afraid you're going to go after their husband, which is not the case. And we have a close knit group of friends, and I didn't hear from anybody, nobody. And my family was like, "What are you doing? Why are you giving up this wonderful lifestyle?" No, I had no support, none. I went to singles events, but the stories I heard were so belligerent, angry. I don't even have the adjectives, and that just wasn't my story. My story was it ended and I said to my ex, I said, "What do you tell people when people ask why we got divorced?" He said, "Nobody asks." Well, women ask. And it ran its course. He's doing things that I physically can't do, and I'm doing things. My life has changed drastically, and he's the first person I call when there's a problem, or when there's something good. But it affected my family in great ways that I didn't anticipate, but I would do it all over again.
Sure. If you're comfortable, tell me about the brain surgeries, why you're having them, and then the one that you said you had to do it alone. What were the feelings that came up, and how did you manage those feelings?
So one surgery was at Johns Hopkins. It was for my ear, but they cut my ear open through my brain because I had a hole in my ear. The other ones, I have hydrocephalus. I have water in my brain, like what Billy Joel has. So I have what he has, normal pressure hydrocephalus, but I have high pressure hydrocephalus. So my head is going to literally explode. So they put a device in my head to drain from my brain to my belly the rest of my life, but they break. One surgery I had, it broke after 10 days. And the surgeon's like, "There's no way." He did a great job. I shook his hand. I hugged and kissed him. I'm like, "You saved my life. Thank you." I mean, your head is going to explode. You get a shunt. It's great. 10 days later, I said, "Something's not right." And he didn't believe me. And I got mistreated and I got turfed. And I'm on my sixth neurosurgeon. So there's no warranty on shunts. There's a 1-day warranty on it. And some people have 10 surgeries. Some people have 500. Some people have 200. I've only had 8. So to keep it in perspective, the motto for hydrocephalus is no more BS, no more brain surgery. That is the only cure. There's not a pill. There's nothing else. And the device they've invented is the same device they've been using for the last 50, 100 years. I don't know. So one of my devices isn't working right. So I had to go to Johns Hopkins, and the travel, I did one by myself. Brain surgery doesn't hurt. And I'm a healthcare provider, so I'm very well aware of what's going on. And for me, one of the surgeries, I was better left alone than to be aggravated by a family member or my spouse who wasn't giving me the support I needed. Having a constant headache 24 hours a day, 365. No one knows what a headache is. This isn't a migraine. This is, you want to just blow your head off. So I did a couple surgeries, maybe one or two by myself, and I got great support in the hospital. It's fine. And the next day I'm out walking the dog or doing something. So not everybody is as lucky. But I know one surgery I went to, my ex and I got in a little tiff the night before, and that was never going to happen again to me. So for the following procedure I had, you're not coming. And that was the beginning of the end, or it hurt him terribly that I didn't include him as my caregiver. But I get to pick who my caregiver is. And so he's been great, wonderful, and I would call him again, but at that time it wasn't working.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Did I answer the question?
Yes. And it's interesting as you're talking, and I'm thinking sometimes, like actually the gentleman that I was with when I met you when we were in Florida is a friend of mine. And we could just call and catch up like it was yesterday. We weren't meant to be romantically involved. And so what's interesting is sometimes, like you and your husband, you can be wonderful friends now, and you can both move on and meet people, and now there's even more people of part of your family and your circle because you two built a family together, parted ways, now have partners, and can like it's interesting. And as your kids grow their families, and so in some ways it's even more successful because the roles changed and they were meant to, if that makes sense.
Yes. So the first time I met his girlfriend, and he talked to me about it and everything, it was at a family event. I went right up to her and gave her a big hug and whispered in her ear, "Welcome to the family." She said her husband had passed away. That, she said, it didn't break her. It broke the ice. It was the best thing I could have said to her. I love her dearly. She's my real estate agent now. I'm selling my house finally. So everybody gets along. Last time my partner and I, we moved to Florida. We went back to Atlanta. The only people we went out to dinner with was my ex and his girlfriend. The four of us. Who says you can't be friends with your ex?
Well, and even I think about my parents. My uncle separated from a woman 20 odd years ago, probably almost 30 years ago now. And my mom, I remember, I think I was even present. She basically said, "You might be separating from my brother. That doesn't mean you're not family." And so to this day, my mom and dad will go and travel or hang out with, party with this like former my auntie and her husband, who she's been married to for 20 odd years now. And so, like I said, the family got bigger because we kept her. So like, you're always family now. It's just, you don't have to be married to my uncle
And
to be my
one
aunt.
of my legal aunts said, "Well, I'm now your ex aunt because she got divorced." I'm like, "What? You're always my aunt." So, yeah, but it's been really difficult from a friendship female standpoint. The male support was great. Well, because I didn't date women, I only dated men. So I met a lot of interesting people, and I dated for 4 years, and then lightning struck.
And you met someone fabulous. I've seen pictures.
Yes.
So was there, you didn't cry, which good on you. I am a crier, so I cry if I'm frustrated, I cry if I'm sad, I cry all the time.
Oh, so do I, but I didn't cry over this. I can cry at a Charmin commercial.
Yeah.
I'm very emotional. I'm very empathic.
Okay.
But but I made the right decision. So I'm looking forward. I'm not looking backward, and I'm not.
Sure.
I also didn't have financial hardship and woeship, so I left. Everything was good.
Yeah. Now, with the feelings of being alone, how did you manage those? Did you even have those? Were there like, wow, my life just got flipped upside down?
No, because he worked very, very hard as an attorney. So I spent a lot of time alone. I would come home at 7:30 at night or work on the weekends. But my time alone is I'm very sound and light sensitive. So I like a quiet, dark room.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't experience aloneness, and I moved to a small neighborhood,
Okay.
and the people next to me adopted me. So I was always, going to somebody's house. No, but I am much more of a loner, and part of that is the condition I had when it used to make me dizzy to hear my own voice.
Okay.
So it's pressure and sound induced vertigo. So I was dizzy and drunk all the time, and talking made it worse. So for me, the quiet, the dark was wonderful.
Okay. Okay. So, and if I'm hearing you, support was like friendship. Like if you think about post divorce, you didn't necessarily feel alone, and you had to create a new friend circle or a support circle of people you could be around that felt safe, felt good.
Yes. It
Okay.
was mostly men, mostly males, because females, I just didn't have a lot in common with other divorced women. And I didn't want to go out with women who were bitching and moaning, complaining, and about their ex-spouses. It just didn't ever click for me. And I went to singles events, but it, I'm not a bar and restaurant person, a socialize person like that. I'm more one-on-one or intimate settings. So
Sure.
I dated, I found a lot. Every guy except for one or two that I've ever dated, I could call up right now.
That's
Um,
nice.
they're good friends.
That's great. Now, in terms of, for me, one of my breakups, I had to geographically move across the country. I was like, I not only have need to end this, I need to like move away. I need to like move my body out of this situation as far as way as possible. Plus, I wanted to live in Florida because, hello, the weather is the best in the world. And so, anyway, for you, post divorce, did you geographically move? What changed in your
I
life?
moved 5 miles away from my old house,
Okay.
but geographically it was across the border. So it was a whole different city. And um, I belong to the same religious, my synagogue, and I still sang in the choir and I tried to conduct life. But when you're divorced, people didn't even know we were divorced. I mean, what do you do? Put it in the paper, announce it.
Yeah.
It wasn't on social media. We didn't act icky, and some
Mhm.
people knew, but some people were like, someone saw me at the grocery store, Kroger, and said, "What are you doing here?" And I'm like, "I live here." They're like, "All the way up here?" It was 5 miles away. I said, "Yes, I'm divorced." Oh, I mean, people were shocked that we got divorced.
Okay.
So it was, um, so I didn't move geographically far, but we didn't see each other a lot. And my kids are growing and out of the house. So that's that.
Sure. Sure. How did they take it?
Um, my daughter has chosen to be estranged from me, and
That's
I have
hard.
not met my two grandchildren yet. One is 3.5 and one's 4 months old. So
Mm.
that has been a sore spot. She says it has nothing to do with the divorce, but I feel like it does. Both my kids were hurt. They were late 20s when this happened, but we're figuring out, when he comes, he lives in Colorado. When he comes to town, I invite his father, and we all three go out to dinner on Buford Highway to eat Asian food or to eat Vietnamese food, whatever. So we both, for Mother's Day, my ex made me a Mother's Day brunch while my son was in town. Not my daughter wasn't included because that's her choice. but we're still a family.
Yeah.
So
How do you deal with the hurt feelings? Because does your daughter see your ex-husband,
yes,
but not you? How do you manage those feelings?
uh, did therapy for a while, screamed a lot for a while, and then Mel Robbins came out with a book, Just Let Them. And I've come to peace with it. When I found the words to say, she has chosen to be estranged from me, it took the onus of me. It wasn't one thing I did that caused this to happen. It was a series of things, but nobody can first thing people say to me is, well, what'd you do? What'd you do? It wasn't something I did. This is her choice for whatever reason. And we have had a sit down talk. I've offered to go to therapy. This was even before the divorce. She got married during COVID, and it was, listen, you'll have to call her and ask her. I don't know. And my whole family has begged and pleaded with her, but nothing. And I don't know. That's all I can do. I pray for her. I pray health and happiness for my grandchildren. And some people keep me in the loop, but she has chosen to take me off social media so I can't see the kids. And it really sucks.
That's heartbreaking.
It is heartbreaking. And I've cried over that. And I've punched a wall. I didn't punch a wall, but that was just not serving me, the angst and anger. And there's a million of us out there. I say that figuratively, but there's a million people and support groups on Facebook, and the stories are horrendous. And the thing that I get from everyone is let them, let go. And one of my friends said, pray for your daughter. I'm like, what? It's that positive energy, the sparkle effect. I just have to be as happy as I can be and let that light shine and pray one day that she'll come back. But I don't know when that will be. It used to be a sore subject, but everyone you talk to, in every one of my friends who's been divorced, there's this in every situation. Everyone has a kid that's estranged, whether it's 4 months, 4 years, or 4 years. It's an epidemic, and they're all reading from the same book. I don't know what they are, Gen X, or, I don't know what, but these 20, 30-year-olds just think they have it down, and if it hurts or they don't like it, just cut ties completely.
They don't want to have the hard conversations.
Nope. And that's not the way I was raised, because my dad was estranged from his brother, and we talked about it, that we would never let this happen in our family. Well, guess what? It happened.
Yeah. I'm sorry to hear that. I met your daughter when we were in the Delta.
She's lovely. She's wonderful. She's
It was right before they got engaged, or they just got engaged. It was something. They were
yes.
traveling somewhere, and we met all at
We
the
were there
Delta.
for her future husband's sister's wedding.
Oh, okay.
Her sister-in-law's wedding. So that's what we were there for.
Yeah.
So, it causes problems. It ripples effect, because my relatives don't want to, I can't think of the word. They don't want to hurt my daughter. They don't want to cause ripple. They don't want to get involved. My own sister says, I don't want to get involved. Who do I have championing for me?
Mm-hmm.
And my dad, right before he died, he said, give it time, give it time. Well, it's been years. So
What's interesting is it isn't even the immediate relationship that you had with your ex-husband. That's fine. It's just it's so sometimes it's not. Some people, break up and never want to see their ex again, and then it's like it's terrible and it's messy and hostile or whatever. You haven't experienced that at all. It's been quite nice, and yet
it's
now a
the
different
best.
relationship in the family was affected.
Yeah. And, and I said to relative, I just saw relatives 2 weeks ago. They're all his relatives, but they're my cousins too. I've known them for 30, 40 years,
Yeah.
and they embrace me with open arms. But not everybody feels that way. They feel like once you get divorced, you have to pick sides. And you really don't. We're family.
Yeah.
So, I've had some more I've just been diagnosed with Parkinson's disease and I need the support. Nothing. My family is sick and tired of me being sick and tired. It's hard to say out loud,
Yeah.
but like, oh, not again, another one. You can't make this shit up.
Yeah.
I didn't choose this. This is not attention seeking behavior. This isn't a headache, which you can't see. This is me shaking. This is me, my balance. And, it's progressing. So it's probably related to my brain surgeries. My doctor thinks the damage I've had from that is causing the Parkinson's.
Really?
Oh, yeah. So I didn't live on a farm. I didn't use paraquat or anything like that particularly. But so I'm dealing with that. But the support I get, my family's just sick and tired. Nobody asks how I'm doing. Nobody.
Really?
Nope. I used to send them articles on how to deal with chronic illness or how to deal with someone with my condition with a headache. What I had was rare because I was the 34th patient in the world to be operated on for this ear condition. Now it's widely known. But now to send them information on Parkinson's, everyone knows about Michael J. Fox. Well, that's not what I have yet. I may get like that, but the only answer for me is to try multiple medications, which all make you cuckoo crazy and tired or constipated, or
Yeah.
to have deep brain stimulation, which is shaving your head and having 2 implants put in and the things here like a pacemaker. And I am a candidate for it, not yet, but that's more brain surgery. And, I never question God. I never blame God. I'm very spiritual. I'm not so religious. It is what it is. You got to go forward and make the best of it.
Mm-hmm. And currently, who isn't, if your family's sick and tired of you being sick and tired, and it sounds like you have found some people that you connect with and spend time with, and it sounds like you have a partner. Who are your support people now? Who are the people that check in on you or you could go to if you want to talk?
I have very, very few. Um, Part of that is you can't explain to somebody what you're going through unless, I have some friends with chronic illness, but I met this man and he's changed my life. And we had a long, hard conversation just 2 weeks ago. I said, now's the time. We bought a house together. I moved to Florida. I moved 500 miles away. And I said, now's the time. Let me go. We don't know what's coming. And this could get very bad. And he said, he's older than me by 12 years. He goes, you don't know what's coming. For him, I mean, he's older than me.
Yeah.
But his people live to 100. So we're taking care of each other. This is from heaven above. This is divine intervention. He thinks I'm a queen and I think he's a king. And it's been since January and he hasn't annoyed me one time.
That's wonderful.
He checks all the boxes. He slurps his coffee. I told him the other day, but don't slurp your coffee so much. But that's but little things like that can grow and real, socks on the floor or whatever. There's not one box that he doesn't check or that annoys me, because if I get annoyed or upset, that's not the life I want. I just want to live a life of joy and happiness. And so does he. He lost his wife 4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So the great part of it is we were neighbors and never met. And he was selling furniture. So I walked over, see what he had to add to my, bachelorette pad. And we met a couple times, and he was leaving, and I walked over and planted one right on his lips, and I kissed him and said goodbye, and that was it. And he let me walk away. He was frozen. And he texted me, and we kept in touch. And then in March, I came down to visit. Well, January, I came down to visit. And in March, we bought a house together. Sight unseen, never had been together. It just was meant to be.
Yeah.
It's a blessing. It's a blessing. So I'm very happy. But not every day is a happy day because of my physical health.
Absolutely. It's scary.
Yeah.
And does it make you want to soak up every moment? Because even last night I was sitting out on my balcony and I was like, am I happy with today? Did I live the way I wanted to today? Because, I mean, you never know when it could be your
Right.
last day. And so it's like, did I soak up every moment of this day the way that I wanted to? Because sometimes it's so robotic, our lives. And I really try, not every day can be this like memory making, cool experience. And I thought, well, would I rather be somewhere abroad eating at a restaurant with a bunch of people? Yeah. And this is where I'm at today. I had errands to run and things to do around the apartment. I did the best today with all the time I had, and it was
That's
a
how
good
I
day.
feel.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wake up and I go to sleep with a smile on my face and a kiss every day and every night.
Yeah.
But, my stuff got lost. Well, I was without my stuff for a month or so. So the truck finally arrived. So we have a shitload of boxes in the garage. I
Okay.
can't unpack them all because I get exhausted. I
Sure.
do what I can. So yesterday I organized my shoes. Yay, that was a victory. I have very small victories. I loaded the dishwasher this morning, which is fine. He was out playing golf, but I count those as victories and I give myself permission and he gives me permission to rest and regroup. And in this world, we're told to go, 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 go until you plop before you go to bed. Well, I don't do that. I take rest during the day so I can be functional.
Yeah.
And I went out to lunch with some new girlfriends I met who are much older than me. And I came back on a high because they fed my soul and it was good. And so I live in a community where there's a million people to meet. I just have to unpack the boxes and meet more people.
Is that what's next then for you? Just bask in this divine love that you found and just
Yep.
celebrate every little win, whether it's packing a box or meeting up with girlfriends?
Yep. Because there's music here 7 nights a week at 5 different stages, free. There's 500 million different clubs. So I haven't been involved in but a couple, but everything you can think of and not think of. And if we go listen to music, if it's for a half hour or an hour, that's our glory. Last night I was like, I'm too
Yeah.
tired to cook. So we watched TV at night. We just love being with each other and life is good. It's
Oh,
simple. It's much
that's
more
great.
simple.
Yeah.
And I don't need to buy fancy clothes. And we're trying to downsize, so life is just easy for us. And I just found out you can order from Kroger and get it delivered here because I don't like Publix. So little wins like going shopping at BJ's with him, teaching him how to cook because he doesn't know how to cook. We're good partners. We are really good partners. And that makes all the difference in the world. Not that my ex wasn't, we were great partners. We never fought. But this is a different kind of love.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a good man. He doesn't smoke, he doesn't drink, he doesn't anything. He's as nerdy as I am. And two nerds make for a happy place.
I love that. Okay, how old do you have to be to hang out in the villages? Because it sounds like I'm going to have to
50,
come,
55 and older.
but you can have younger visitors?
Yes, you can. You just can't buy or live here permanently. And
That's fine.
I just turned 60, so he's older than I am.
Yeah.
But there's a whole bunch of young people at 55 moving in on the South End because there's 500 million different activities.
It
I mean, you
sound
could be
yeah.
busy morning to night. Yeah.
So everybody's just, they don't have to work, they're retired, and they're like, let's hang out. Let's
But
golf.
but a lot of people, not everybody plays golf. I haven't played golf yet, but a lot of people, uh, the sewing club, the painting club, the archery club, the wood club, the water volleyball. I took my partner to his hearing aid appointment, which is, I'm a hearing specialist, and the person who was helping us is actually from Atlanta, and we remembered each other. I like had tears in my eyes. So there's doctor's appointments, there's things to do, but it's she plays water volleyball 4 days a week, and there's just a gazillion activities to do. You just have to find the right activities, and there's card games I've never heard of, and I will get to all that, but there's boxes in my garage. So my priority right now is to unpack and probably throw most of it away because I don't need sweaters or
Yeah.
long pants
Right.
ever again. So
Oh, I miss the weather in Florida so much. Here in the Chicagoland area right now, it's like in the
nice.
90s. I love it. And everybody's like, oh, how do we survive the heat wave? And I thought, when I lived in Miami, it was 95 and humid for
Ever.
5 to 6 months straight. Like, that was just life. That wasn't a heat wave. It was just how we lived. And I loved it so much. Oh, I
I
miss
wouldn't choose to move back to Florida because I'm a native Floridian,
it. Yeah.
but you know, I wasn't happy in Atlanta and I needed to make a change, and so I made a change.
Good for you.
Yeah,
Well, I'll tell you what, it's my life mission to get back to Florida. I love, and it doesn't even matter where it is. I was in Port St. Joe's with my mom a few months back. Wouldn't want to live there. Loved it still. I thought it was great. The people were great. The weather was great. So visit, yeah, absolutely. I was in Tampa recently. Thought, don't know if I'd live here. Definitely would visit again. I mean, to me, South Florida is where it's at. My mom always, she asked me recently, out of everywhere you've lived or you've been, like, where would you want to live? And I said, Miami. Like, I love Miami. And to me, it is a party place.
yeah,
And it's not, if you're not into that. You don't have to hang out in South Beach. You don't, there are so many other things to do. There's other places to hang out that are quieter and aren't overrun with like this touristy
right.
vacation vibe. You can just live there and enjoy. One of my happiest memories was
Swimming in the pool.
no. I used to in the evenings because I lived near Spanish River Beach in Boca, and it would be like, I don't know, 8, 9 o'clock at night, just getting dark. I'd roll down my windows, put my hair up so it wasn't blowing all around, put on a good song, like something like a folk song, like singer songwriter, just real mellow. And I would just drive along A1A and just watch, beautiful homes. And if the moon was out, it would shine across the ocean. And I was like, I can't believe I live here. I love it. I miss it. Anyway, well, I'm so happy that you're happy. I'm sorry to hear about the new diagnosis.
Yeah,
Um,
me too. Thank
I
you.
don't know. I, I couldn't help but think about Shrinking, even though that's a fake character. Have you and your partner watched that show?
Shrinking?
Shrinking on Apple TV.
No.
Highly, highly recommend. It is literally my favorite show I've ever seen ever.
I'm
Um,
writing it down.
yeah, it is. There's 3 or 4 seasons out now, three maybe. It is one of the best, just good-hearted shows. But Harrison
Wait.
Ford,
Oh, I've seen it. He hasn't. Yes, I've
yeah,
seen
and
it.
Harrison Ford has Parkinson's, and so,
You know
and
what? I don't think I started watching it before I guess I knew my diagnosis. I didn't
yeah,
know. Wait, in real life or the character?
the character, not in real life.
Oh. Oh
Yeah.
no, I've seen the first or second season. I didn't realize. Wow. I'll have to go
Yes, because
back.
he ends up getting together with his neurologist because she's gorgeous and she's about his
Yes.
age. So then he gets a new neurologist because obviously the conflict of interest there. But anyway, it's a wonderful show. And it's the last episode of the last season that was out. He's kind of like a gruff, cranky guy, but
Yeah.
he's really soft in the inside. And so he finally lets down his guard and speaks at this event where they're all together at one of the gals' houses, and just kind of speaks to, we have every day we don't know what the next day is going to look like. And I'm just really happy that you people are in my life. And it was like, wow, keep the people that care about you close, because it's beautiful to have people that care about you in your life, even on your bad days and you don't feel like being social or friendly or happy. These people love you no matter what. And that's wonderful.
Yes. We had talked about that show. My short-term memory, I could watch something, it's Groundhog Day for me every day. So when I watch a movie, I'm like, wait, I saw this already? So yes, I have
Well, it
seen
seems
most of
familiar, but it's just as good the
it.
second time.
Yes, and there's so much good stuff out. I hate to waste my time watching something over again, but sometimes it's worth it because you see it from different eyes,
Yeah.
different
Now, I just
perspectives.
thought of this to wrap, for the person listening and hearing this story, and thank you for sharing. What words would you leave with this person? Something that you wish you would have known, or you could have told yourself as you go through this process.
If something's gnawing at you, listen to that little bird on your shoulder, or that intuition. I knew something wasn't right, something wasn't working in our marriage. It takes a lot of guts to finally pull the cord, but know that you have to follow your heart and your head. You have to be smart about it, but if something isn't right, something isn't right, and you have every right to be happy.
Mm-hmm.
And it may be a different path than you thought, but you have every right to be happy, and stop trying to make a square peg into a round hole, and find your square peg and square hole, and life changes.
Thanks for tuning in to Your Unapologetic Life. Be sure to share this episode with at least one woman in your life who could use a confidence boost. Don't forget to claim your free video training. It's called Bounce Back Quick, 5 Confidence Boosters After a Breakup, by visiting morganbarkis.com and subscribing to my email list, or clicking the link in the show notes. Join me for more resources and learn how to book a discovery call to see if my 90-day coaching program is right for you. You've got this, girl. Let your unapologetic life begin.